Hello everyone, my name is Inko and this is Europa Universalis 4. I've always said that I wanted to start a series in a Paradox game, Crusader Kings 2, Europa Universalis, whatever. I've now got an opportunity to do so, and that opportunity is the release of the Cossacks, which is, of course, an expansion for EU4. If you're not familiar with this, it revamps horde gameplay, adding things like horde unity, raising, stuff like that. It also adds a bunch of diplomacy features like estates, which are internal factions. You can now gain favors with countries, and you can also declare like what provinces you want. Basically, it adds a bunch of peacetime gameplay, which is sorely missing in my opinion. But I'm really excited for this because Paradox games are among some of my most played games. Crusader Kings 2, I've got like several hundred hours in, I think. But anyway, as I said, the Cossacks has released. It is an expansion that revamps horde gameplay. And unfortunately, I just recently finished, well, I say just recently, but it was like months ago. It feels like it was yesterday, but I played a Mongolian campaign in Crusader Kings 2. I played Genghis Khan, and that was loads of fun. Had this massive empire, and basically what I'm trying to say is I'm burnt out on horde gameplay. I don't really want to play the Golden Horde or Uzbek or anything like that. So I figured I may as well play the arch rival of the nomads. Well, I say arch rival, but let's just say the nemesis in Europe. And that is the landed societies in Eastern Europe. So specifically what I'm saying is Muscovy. I'm going to play as the Grand Principality of Moscow. And as there's two reasons for this, because I don't want to play a horde, but I'm going to play, you know, kind of the other side of the coin, which is a landed society on the fringes of Europe. In addition, I don't think I've ever actually played a campaign in Eastern Europe. I've never played Lithuania, Novgorod, anything like that. In fact, I've never actually played in the East. I've got plenty of campaigns in Western Europe, Spain, France, Brandenburg, Mali, Ethiopia, something in North America. I think it was Cherokee. I can't remember. I guess as the farthest I've ever played in the East was like was in my Ethiopia campaign where I had this large trading empire. But basically, I've never had a campaign where I try to form Russia. So I figured now is a good time since they've, I guess, added features to the hordes. I don't know if they'll be a stronger adversary. I can't really say. But just before we hop into the game here, I'm going to go over our stats and our ideas, and also the campaign options. I haven't really changed the options at all. The difficulty is none. We're not on easy or hard. AI difficulty is normal. Lucky Nations none, which is probably one of the largest changes. I don't really think that'll be necessary. Fantasy Random New World. I have randomly generated a new world, which, if I remember correctly, is also a new feature in the Cossacks. And I've got it set to uncommon. Basically, this will determine the commonality of fantasy random new world elements like highly advanced native empires or something. But I've got that set to uncommon just because, I mean, like on the off chance something crazy might happen. Custom setup, nothing really different there either. So let us take a look at Moscow. Obviously, it's a large principality in Eastern Russia. It is a Grand Principality, which is of the Kingdom rank. In addition, it is of the Eastern Technology Group, and it is an Orthodox Christian nation, so at some point we'll have to recapture what is left of Byzantium, try to capture Constantinople, I suppose. But it's not technically important. I don't think there's any of those triggers that fire once you capture Constantinople, aside from like the Pentarchy, but you've got to do like Rome, Byzantium, as well as Alexandria, is it? I can't quite recall. But anyway, we are Orthodox Christian. We don't really have a very strong leader. I think there's nations around us that have much stronger leaders. For example, Novgorod, Lithuania, the Golden Horde has really shit the bed as far as leaders go. These smaller oh my, Perm has a really good leader, but these smaller nations around us, not so much. Perm has the best leader in our immediate vicinity, actually. The Uzbeks are not bad. But anyway, I should just say very briefly, I'm going to struggle with the Russian pronunciations. I just struggled with the pronunciation of pronunciation, so that's a great example. But I have to say, I'm from Canada, and I do not hear Russian pronunciations very often in my everyday life, and not in like my internet perusings or whatever. I basically have very little experience with it. So I'll do my best to pronounce all the place names and people's names, but just be aware that I may butcher them. Anyway, our leader is Grand Knyaz Vassily Temny II. Our technology is, of course, level 3, and we'll just very briefly go over ideas. I'm not going to read out the paragraphs because I have done, but I will mouse over so you can read them at your own leisure. But anyway, our main ideas, our starting ideas, I should say, is Muscovite traditions, which increases manpower modifier by 25% and also reduces the cost of infantry by 20%. The idea for having all Muscovite ideas is Muscovite ambitions, which increases manpower by 50%. It seems that most of Muscovy's ideas are centered around land forces, specifically manpower, which I guess is supposed to reflect Russia's massive pools of manpower. The first idea is Sudebnik, which will reduce the core creation cost by 15%. The second is Found the Streltsy, which will increase our land force limit modifier by 50%. Third is Oprichnina, which increases manpower recovery speed by 10% and reduces culture conversion cost by 20%. I just love how it's getting more and more difficult to pronounce as I go along. The fourth idea is Abolish the Mesnichestvo, okay, which increases production efficiency by 10%. Siberian Frontier will give us one colonist, but in addition, it will automatically discover adjacent territory to our colonies. The sixth idea is the Table of Ranks, which will increase yearly army traditions by 0.5. And the final idea is broaden the curriculum of the Cadet Corps, which will reduce technology cost by 10%. So, I guess very briefly we can talk about country size as well. We are kind of like a medium country at this point. Well, we're quite large, actually. France only has 20 provinces, England 23, Castile 22, so we're not bad. Yeah, I'd say medium. Medium size. Well, I guess until we get to like Timurids or Ming. You know what? I'll just say we're like medium small. We'll go with that. Biggie smalls. Okay, we have 16 regions. Our development level is 211, which is not bad at all because a lot of the territories around us have really crappy development for their size. For example, what's left of the Golden Horde only has 130 development, despite being the same size as us. Novgorod, nearly the same size, has half the development, although to be fair, a lot of their territory is fucking Arctic. So you're not going to be building a lot in Kola, for example, I don't think, or Karelia. I wouldn't think so, I don't know. Maybe there's like a massive booming city here now? I would imagine so. Is this not Finland up in here? I would think so. Finland? Anyone? Bueller? Okay, in addition, we have a fort level of 7. We have 3 vassals as well. Pskov, which is this here, is a vassal. We've got Yaroslavl, which is this one little region next to this massive lake. That's also our vassal. And then Perm is our final vassal, which is quite big, actually. It's got 4 regions, a really strong leader, and tons of crazy ideas, which we're not going to get into. But anyway, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about Muscovy until we actually get into the game, so we're going to just jump right in. I'm not going to go Iron Man because I need to be able to save scum just in case something goes wrong with the recording. I don't want to restrict myself to one save. Just in, I don't know, maybe like something horrible will go... Oh! What is that I hear? Is that sleigh bells? I completely forgot. I've got the Yuletide song pack. It's currently December 9th. So, of course, it's going to sound Christmassy as hell in here. I hope you don't mind. Get into the spirit, everyone. Let's have a hell of a time. Anyway, we'll continue with the overview here. I've got 175 ducats, gaining 8 per month. 22,000 manpower. Maximum is 26,000, so we're very near our manpower max. We're gaining 250 each month. 0 for stability, 4 prestige, 100 legitimacy, 0 power projection. We've got 112 administrative power, 42 diplomatic power, 56 military power, and a bunch of missions. Let's see. Improve our prestige, improve relations with Tver. We could do. Or we could conquer Novgorod right away. You know what? We'll come back to this. Disputed succession, not interested. Free advisor slots. Too few rivals. Let's set some rivals. Let's see. Denmark, for some odd reason. Was Denmark a big player in perhaps the Crusades in Eastern Europe, like the Teutonic Crusades? I see the Livonian Order has territory here. Was there a Livonian Crusade? I can't recall. I know very little about the history of Eastern Europe in this particular time period. So if you know some interesting tidbits that would really add some flavor to the campaign, do not be afraid to share. I will gobble that up. And in fact, I'll probably be looking into history of the area as I go on. But anyway, I don't think we need to set Denmark as a rival because they're so fucking far away. I think Golden Horde is probably a prime target because they've got, well, I don't know if I'd want to capture their shitty territory, but we'll probably end up going to war with them. Novgorod would be another good target because we do have a mission. Their opinion is really shitty as well. Their army is 30% weaker than ours, but we don't have a navy, which is gonna not be an issue at all because we're landlocked. Finally, we'll set Lithuania as a rival. I don't know. Lithuania is really big. Do we want to piss off Lithuania? We may as well do. We're probably going to end up going to war with them. We want rivals so we can get power projection. Okay, so those are our rivals. We'll probably want to take a look at our advisors. We've got prestige, spy offense, and morale of armies. So I don't want to, get a lot of... Like, I don't want really highly skilled advisors at this point because they're so expensive. And I don't think we need better relations or trade efficiency or anything like that at this point. Land maintenance, national power, manpower, I should say. No, we don't really need any of that right now. I think we will change our national focus, though. Let's take a look at technology. So, the next step in admin technology is temples, which are great for taxes, of course. Marketplaces, which are great for trade. And then pike and square, which will increase our tactics as well as our land morale. So I think one of our first actions as a kingdom is going to be the subjugation of Novgorod because we have that mission, which means we're going to want military technology first and foremost. So we will probably set our national focus to military power. There we are. So we're now making 5 admin points per month, 3 diplomatic, and 7 military. Not bad at all. I guess we'll just go through tab by tab. That would be the best way to do this overview as well. We are a Grand Principality, which is a despotic monarchy, meaning that national unrest is reduced by 1 point. Unjustified demands reduced by 10%. Our culture group is Russian. Or I should say our primary culture is Russian. Our culture group is Eastern Slavic. So that's Russian, Byelo-Russian, as well as Ruthenian. No country modifiers at the moment. Our heir is Ivan Veliki Rurakovich, which is a pretty large name, if I could remember, from Crusader Kings 2. Rurakovich. Anyway, he has a lot better stats than our leader. He's also of the same dynasty as Tver and Yaroslavl, so perhaps we'll have some great relations with them as a result. I'm not sure what exactly having the same dynasty does. I suppose it means that we are in a royal marriage. Or something. We'll probably end up getting a royal marriage with all of our vassals just so that we can eventually integrate them. That would be great. I suppose we should take a look at our enemies. All three of our rivals are enemies, and then Denmark is our fourth. As I said, we have 3 vassals, Pskov, which will probably want to offer a royal marriage. Well, they are a republic, so we can't actually offer them a royal marriage. So that makes me wonder, can we integrate Pskov? I wouldn't think so, because... do you know... Okay, well, apparently we can annex them in 1454. I thought you needed a royal marriage to do so, but perhaps that is no longer the case. Okay, let's look at Yaroslavl. Okay, well, at the very least, we'll get a royal marriage with them. Perm as well, probably. There we are. We'll increase our legitimacy, improve relations, and a chance of a new heir. There we go. So we're going to marry Perm and Yaroslavl. I think we also have room for one more relation. Do we want to leave that open for when we declare on Novgorod? Perhaps we can get like an alliance with Sweden. Or should we instead try to court Tver and Ryazan? You know what? Let's do that. We have a mission to improve relations with Tver. So that would be great. We can talk to them and offer an alliance. What is our mission actually? To increase relations to 100. We can easily do that. So we will offer them alliance. There we are. Our trust is kind of low. Why would that be? Border friction. We have a core of theirs, it seems. We'll offer them an alliance. It doesn't really matter. Eventually, we'll get a royal marriage as well. So we can also offer them the chance of vassalization. We'll offer them a vassalization within a couple of years. But once we finish that mission, we can move on. Let's see. What's our diplomatic opinion with everyone? So the Golden Horde, of course, doesn't like us. Novgorod, Lithuania. Perm is pretty pleased. Kazan is a bit rocky, it seems. They want a lot of our provinces. The Golden Horde as well wants a lot of provinces. But mostly we are... rivals. Lithuania apparently is not interested in our land. I would think Novgorod wants our provinces as well. Yeah, okay. Yaroslavl, Tver, Ryazan, they all are pretty pleased with us. It seems there's an effect of our dynasty. Same dynasty has increased relations by 15. What else does it do? I can't say. So yes, we've got 3 vassals, not much else. There's no coalitions at the moment. There's no federations. We've got 3 rivals. Denmark is a potential 4th. Players, victory cards. I don't know what victory cards are. I don't think I've ever seen that. So perhaps it's new. Can't say. So that's pretty much it for diplomacy at the moment. We really don't need to do much else. Economically, we are making the most from taxation, as per usual. Production is a somewhat close second. Trade is 2.57. Vassals are giving us 0.54 ducats per turn, giving us a grand total of 5.63. We are spending a huge amount of money on our armies because we've got 20,000 men standing tall in Galich, as well as... Is it Galich? How do you say the CH in Russia? Is it Galich? I would say it's Galich, actually. Much like Rurokovich. I would think it's... I don't know. Not kih. Okay, anyway, we have 1,000 men in Moskva, which is Moscow, which is our capital, actually, as well. We've got way less men in our capital than we do in Galich, and I don't know why that is. I can't say. I guess we'll take a look at trade next. So we are involved in 3 nodes right now. Kazan. We are using our trade power to transport 3 ducats forward to Novgorod. In Astrakhan, we are using our trade power to move that into Kazan, which is ultimately all being collected in Novgorod. So we are collecting 2.33 ducats from Novgorod. So if possible, we ought to... Novgorod must be like our home... yes, it is. See, our capital is in this trade node, so we are automatically collecting trade unless we change our home port or whatever the hell that is called. I don't remember. But anyway, so it would be best for us to increase trade power in Novgorod. As you can see, Novgorod has 36% trade power. We have 21%. Novgorod is getting a lot of trade power from their provinces, as are we, but we have a lot of trade power because of our transfer from Kazan and Astrakhan. So it would be best for us to capture more provinces from Novgorod. Again, it's a big mission of ours to do so. So I wouldn't worry too much about that at the moment. It's probably going to be a couple years until we get into that. We've already gone over our technology, our ideas we've been over. We have to wait until level 5 to unlock a national idea. We've already gone over our missions. There's a couple national decisions here, such as Western Focus, which will, I guess, help us westernize. We can form the Russian nation as well, which means that we have to own Novgorod. We have to own Tver, Yaroslavl, Ryazan, and Smolensk as well. I don't know where Smolensk is. Smolensk. We can also adopt all of these different administrations. A couple religious acts. Liberium Veto, no idea what the hell that is. Stability and expansion, not a lot going on. War exhaustion 0, stability 0, overextension 0. I hope you guys don't mind me doing this overview. I just really like to, get us all on the same page before we actually begin playing the game. If you're bored as hell, I don't mind. Come back next video. We'll have a whale of a time. As for religion, as I said, we are Orthodox, which reduces stability cost, increases tolerance of the true faith, and reduces local missionary strength, which is odd. I don't know why that is. So our tolerance of the true faith is 5. Tolerance of heretics, like Coptic Christianity, Catholic Christianity, is -1. Heathens is -2, not a big deal. I don't know what the hell this Patriarch Authority is. Okay, when reaching maximum Patriarch Authority, you will gain missionary strength 2%, local unrest -3, local tax modifier -33%, but plus 33% to manpower modifier. Okay, so it seems that as we increase patriarchal authority, we reduce our tax income, but we increase our manpower. A little odd. We have one single Sunni region, which is probably in the south. Yeah, here it is. Kasimov, which is bordering the Golden Horde, so that explains it. We just have to convert this one province, and then we have 100% religious unity. It seems that it's got the wrong culture as well, but we'll deal with that. Orthodox Christianity stretches all the way from Novgorod down into whatever the hell this is, Bulgaria, Wallachia, Moldavia. It seems that the Ottoman Turks have converted all of Anatolia. Looks like Greece is still Orthodox as well, but they're unfortunately occupied by the Ottomans. Maybe we'll be able to liberate our Orthodox brothers one day, but not today. Not today at all. So that's our religion. As for military, we've got 2 units, the Bardashe Infantry, which we will probably keep, and Drutsina Cavalry. Let's see, do we want defensive shock or offensive shock? I would think offensive shock. We've got one general by the name of Dmitry Shemiaka, who is really good actually. He's got 3 pips in fire, and 4 in shock, and 3 in maneuver. We've got 9 army tradition, 2.5 land morale, 25, a force limit of 28, of which we've got 21 units up. We have no navy, although we have a force limit of 12. I don't know where that's coming from. I guess just our provinces. Oh, it's just, it's straight up just from us being, just from existing, we get 12, which is great. Discipline is 100%. Military tactics, 0.5. Siege ability, 0.4. Combat width, 20. Blah, blah, blah. None of that is extremely relevant right now. Here's our subjects. We can interact with them. Give them provinces. Placate local rulers. We can enable scutage. Interesting. We don't really need to do any of this at the moment. I'm very interested to look into estates because I've never actually played with these before. So, we've got the boyars, the burghers, the clergy, and the Cossacks. So the boyars are our landed nobles, the burghers are our merchants, the clergy is, of course, the clergy, and our Cossacks are a new addition in this expansion, I suppose. Well, estates in general are new, but Cossacks are unique to Eastern Russia. Looks like they increase cavalry combat ability, which is quite interesting. They also reduce cavalry cost. Clergy increases tax and stability. Burghers increase trade efficiency as well as reducing development costs. And boyars increase manpower recovery speed and reduce our land maintenance modifier. So it looks like our boyars are pretty influential. They've got 62% right now, which means that we get... Oh, I see. We have to increase loyalty above 60%. That's what it is. What does influence do? I can't quite say. What is this? Okay, let's read. An estate's influence is the power they wield in the country. A high level of influence will increase both the benefits provided by a loyal estate and the penalties suffered from a disloyal one. An estate whose influence increases to more than 80% is at risk of seizing power in the nation. So the boyars are actually quite powerful right now. And their loyalty is around 50% though, so I mean, so long as their loyalty is at least 30%, they will provide bonuses both in the province, blah blah blah. The strength of their countrywide bonuses and penalties depend on their level of influence, I guess. So the actual number is altered depending on their influence. So it's actually quite good that they're 62% influential, because that means our manpower recovery speed is perhaps 20% rather than 10%. If I understand it correctly. The burghers' influence is quite low in relation, and that's probably why trade efficiency is only like 5%. I think I understand the system. So, if at all possible, we want to increase the loyalty of all of these estates, and we would do that by giving them territory. I think we actually have a couple landed estates, if I can find the actual... Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, so it appears that the boyars hold 3 territories, which increase local manpower modifiers. I see, okay, so boyars increase manpower. The clergy will reduce unrest. Okay. And it seems that the burghers and the Cossacks do not actually have any territory. So how do I give them territory? Is it grant monopoly charters? Okay, well, it looks like we're granting monopoly charters. So I've lost 5 prestige, bringing us down to 0. But that has raised their influence, so that's increased our trade efficiency. All right. How do we give them land? I don't know. Perhaps we don't. I don't know. Perhaps we don't give the burghers land. Do we give the Cossacks land? Expand Cossack register. 10 loyalty, but loss of prestige. Okay, well, that's not too bad. But anyway, that's all of our tabs. So I guess we can just kind of look at whatever map modes are left. It looks like we're mostly forested. Culture. So all of this is Russian, Ruthenian, Belarusian. So this is our culture group. It looks like Kissimmee is not an accepted culture, of course. States unrest, no unrest, because we're at peace. As for trade, we've already been over that. I suppose we'll want to go to diplomatic map modes. Coalition, we've already been over that as well. Economic, okay, so trade and development. Alright, so we are quite developed around Moscow. Smolensk is actually in Lithuania. So eventually we'll have to defeat Lithuania and capture Smolensk to form Russia. But it looks like the regions around Moscow are quite developed, and everywhere else is a bit of a shithole for 100-mile radius. Novgorod as well is pretty well developed, so that would be a prime target for us to capture. There are no buildings in Muscovy aside from our fort. So we've got one in Galich, one in Moscow, Moskva. In addition, we've got one in Nizhny Novgorod, which is a boyar territory. So we've got three forts. As for manpower, we've got not a lot of manpower coming out of our forested territory, but there's a lot coming out of Vladimir, which I think is a boyar territory. How do we see if it's owned by an estate? I suppose it would be the autonomy. Controlled by boyars. You'd think there'd be like a little pop-up somewhere. Well, not a pop-up, but a little icon telling you who owns what land, like what estate owns the land. But anyway, the boyars have increased the manpower of Nizhny Novgorod. They've increased it in Suzdal as well as Ritsev, which I guess has really shitty manpower to begin with, 984. The manpower in Moscow is just a base 2,500, it looks like. Although I would imagine the development has a lot to do with that. So, I mean, manpower, we're not doing too bad. Local autonomy, the only places with issues with autonomy are, of course, the ones with estates. Colonial, no good. Trade goods. Oh my, look at this. How do we see... It's really hard to tell what is ours and what isn't. Okay, so... Oh, I see, because I'm... because I've selected a province and I can't... Oh, there we go. This is what I'm looking for. Alright. So, it looks like we're producing furs in the north. There we go. Which are worth 2. Iron is worth 3. Salt? Is that salt? Is worth 3 as well. So we've got quite a bit of iron. We've got copper, which will be worth quite a bit eventually. And fucking textiles. Or is it wool? Wool? Cloth. Sorry. So we're getting cloth out of Kostroma. Copper out of Vyatka. Furs out of Ustyug, although that's not too important because it's quite cheap. But salt. Iron. Naval supplies? Why? What the fuck? Because of this lake? Beluzero, what are you doing with the naval supplies? Quit it. We actually got quite a lot of grains as well. We're also making wool in Kazimov. Do we own Kazimov? Of course we do. Okay. So yeah, I'd say we should focus on our iron because that's probably one of our most useful resources, as well as copper. They both raise in price pretty early on. Technology is pretty standard. Trade value looks like Galich is high in trade value due to the salt. Trade value, I suppose it would be the production as well as the value. Vladimir as well. Surprisingly, Moscow is not worth a lot. Well, trade value of 4.3. Vladimir's only 5. Kind of odd. Geographical, simple terrain. Areas. What the hell's areas? Oh, yes, of course. This tells you the immediate area. Regions. Likewise. Colonial regions. Trade company regions. Supply limit. So it looks like... Let's see our army. Our army of 20,000 men is currently suffering attrition, so we're going to have to split it up, I think. Just to move it around because we're going to have issues with supply limits. Fort level. Fort level 2 in both Galich as well as Nizhny Novgorod. Do you think the Novgorodians are really pissed that we've got a province also called Novgorod? Nizhny Novgorod? What does Nizhny mean? Like lesser? I don't know. Unfortunately, our fort level in Moscow is actually 3, not 2. I was going to say it's going to be 1, but no, the blue is 1. The fort level in Tver is 1. Smolensk is 2. Why are all these forts different colors? Probably because they're owned by allies and stuff. So it looks like we're going to have rough winters in Russia. Who'da thunk? Severe winters. Climate temperate all the way up until Novgorod. So we're quite lucky in that regard. I think we should go a little bit more in depth into our military before finally wrapping up, because this video is quite long actually. So yes, we've got 20,000 men in Galich. We've got 1,000 men in Moscow, so we'll probably have to take 10,000 and put them in Moscow. Eventually we will be attacking Novgorod. They've got 14,000 men. So we already outnumber them with our men alone, but we've also got 3,000 from Yaroslavl, 3,000 from Pskov, and 3,000 from Perm, which is disappointing. I thought they'd have quite a bit more due to their size. So in total, we've got 30,000 men against their 14,000. But we will eventually get to invading Novgorod. For now, we just want to appease Tver, and then we'll go from there. I could have been advancing time as I was doing this, but I just figured pause it, we'll just get everything out of the way, and then we'll dive into the game next episode. I hope you guys don't mind. I guess we should go over our agents as well. We've got 2 merchants, which are out. We've got 0 colonists, 3 diplomats, which we've sent, and then we've got 1 missionary. So we should send our missionary to Kasimov, but unfortunately we have very low missionary strength. Damn. I think this is pretty much it, though, for Muscovy. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Just a very, well, quite an intense overview of our kingdom, but that's how I just like to do it. I mean, it's a grand strategy. All of these little details matter. So if I need to know it, you need to know it. So anyway, thank you, everyone, for watching. If you like this, please leave a like, please leave a comment, check out my social media. That's Twitter, Facebook, Google+, all that bullshit, and I will see you guys with episode 2 of our brand new Europa Universalis 4 Muscovy campaign with the Cossack expansion. I hope to see you then.